Hello friends, it's Jordan J5 Alive here and welcome back to our Freshenstadt YouTube channel, where today we're going to be reviewing this LEGO City train set, the high-speed passenger train from 2014, set 60051. And it is a very stunning passenger train based on the German Intercity Express, where I come from, and this is also my very first LEGO train set that I've had for my own purposes. And we got this for Christmas 11 years ago in 2015, and it's been one of the most important trains in our collection to show indication that it's a genuine passenger train for long distance layouts, which is what we tried to make. So it's basically one of the smaller passenger train sets in our collection at just 610 pieces required, and it's a 7-bag build consisting with 3 minifigures, as you can see there, 4 instruction manuals, and this loop track here, which I'll come to talk about. So in this review I'm going to be going over what each bag will build up, and then in the end you will get to see the train running around its allocated loop of track. So bag 1 basically builds up this little countryside station with these 2 passengers, the one with the suitcase and the one with the bicycle, and this small country level crossing with just 1 lane of traffic. I know most level crossing sets sometimes are double lane, and I have 2 train sets that have 2 lanes of traffic plus a train station, which I'm going to review at some other time. But I think the reason because it's a single lane is because it comes with a very limited loop of track, and a double lane amount of track takes up 3 pieces of straight track, whereas this one just takes up 1 piece on its own. As for the little station here, it's got the really quaint space, like you've got 2 seats, you've got the timetable as you can see here. So it's a perfect place for you to wait for the train. So it's a nice little warm-up to building this set. And yeah, it's a very useful starting material. And with the level crossing signs, they haven't got any barriers, but they do have signs indicating it's a level crossing. You've got the warning lights, which don't have any LEDs in them. They're just 1 by 1 round shiny studs. I don't know what you call them. I think they're transparent red pieces. And yeah, I mean, you have a nice easy start, and also start with using 2 pieces of straight track out of the 4 this set comes with. And that is all included in this first manual here. Manual 2 and bags 2 and 3 build up the locomotive of this train, which runs on the power function system, which was in existence between 2010 and 2018. This set is 2014, so it is considered to be in the last range of power functions trains. So basically bag 2 builds up like the base of the locomotive, and then bag 3 builds up the more electronic components of it. So to get a look at what the train comes with, it comes with the power functions remote control, as you can see here. Now the way it works is basically there are 3 components in the locomotive. You have a train motor, which I've just detached from the locomotive itself, which has only 1 output, and that goes into the infrared receiver, which, if I remove the nose of the train, is here. So if I turn it on, you can see the green light is on, and then what we've got here is 4 different channels. So whatever channel this is set to, it'll allocate it to the remote. Now if I remove also the place where the pantograph is, this might take a while, hang on. Yes, so if you can see it carefully, you've got this red piece here, that's the motor cable. So there are 2 ports to this. You have port red and port blue, and for this train it's using the red port. So as you can see, it's connected with channel 1 red. So if at the moment the remote is set exactly on it, so channel 1 red, so the receiver and the remote are therefore connected. Also you just put the driver in there as well, and that's the only way to put the driver in the train itself. And then if I take off these back panels here, you've got the battery compartment here, which is where one output from the receiver ends up. So it goes motor, receiver, power compartment. Power compartment requires 6 AAA batteries, remote only requires 3 of them. And speaking of the remote, for all my power functions trains, I share this remote for them, rather than just have them all using batteries, because it's a bit of a waste, and I like being more environmental, which is more systematic to the world, because we live in quite a climactic crisis at the moment. Moving on, bags 4 and 5 build up the middle carriage here, which consists of enough space to put a bike. Obviously there should be a sticker here, but because this train is so old, some of the stickers have fallen off, so I've written what the sticker should say on the side of the trains at some point. And then yes, if I turn it around, there is the sticker here, so shows there's enough space to put the bikes in. If I remove the roof, you can see there's 4 seats in there and enough space to put the bike. It doesn't fully come off, but only down the middle section. So that's the way to get the passengers in, just like a normal toy train would. And underneath it's got like the double wheel configuration to attach to both the loco and the back carriage, which is built up in manual 4 and bags 6 and 7. And similar to the locomotive, it is like almost symmetrical, except for the fact there is no power cabling. You have, once again, 4 seats inside it here, and there's enough space probably to fit the bike, I don't know, either way. But unlike the motor on the locomotive, like some train sets I have do sometimes try and build a fake motor, however this set does not. It comes with this wheel assembly right here, which almost looks like the motor, but it's like a cheap, different version of it. And the good news is they're all pivoted in some way, so they can deal with the corners and everything, which is clever, and also with the magnetic connections. So, furthermore about the set, we have this simple loop of track it comes with. So it only comes with 4 straight and 16 curved pieces, making this tiny oval, which I'm not happy about because this train needs a lot more track. It's an Intercity Express style one. 2 of the straight pieces have already been used here, and I've got the last 2 here, and the 16 curves right here. Clever thing with Lego train tracks is they always bring straights and curves with these pins here, and they always arrange them in groups of 4. I'll come to another train set where something's interesting about it, which some fans don't know, but it is useful, and that'll be the blue cargo train set 60052, which my partner Fitzherbert is going to review in the next video we're going to make. And without further ado, I would happily, out of 10, give this set a review of 8. Mainly because of the track loop, but also with the fact that there's not enough space to put everyone, and sometimes when I see figures with quite long hair, obviously there aren't any in this set, but sometimes there's no space to fit them in the middle carriage if I put them down the gap between the 2 seats. I meant the back carriage, sorry. But the other thing I've noticed is that other people have just been using their spare pieces to build up longer trains. I don't do that because I don't want to waste my money, I just want to enjoy using this train to effect. And yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with the way it works. Plus, port blue could be useful to put in headlights, and I wasn't much of a thought about getting headlights for the trains, but that's not why I deducted a point, because of the loop. Like the other point I deduct is when you're setting it up. Basically, when I first used this train set at Christmas 11 years ago, I built a loop of track, and you're supposed to put these 2 things together on the lower part. So it's sort of facing you when if you're sitting directly in front of it. However, if you put it further away from you, if you put a curve right here going off that way, the back of the train will nudge into the station, which creates a bit of a bump. And that was a bit of a problem when I first had this set. But the train is a total of 77 centimetres long, which is quite interesting for an intercity express train. And on general straight pieces of track, if you lay them out, it would fill up 6. So it's considered to be an average length for a Lego City train set, for a passenger train really, and all that. That equivalates to 24 pieces of flexible track. I will review a set or two with those pieces of track in a different upload, which I think Friedrich would do, or I don't know whether it'll be me. So I'll be thinking about that with them. But the next part of the reason why I like this train set is because it's got a very good performance on the track as well. Despite trying to put the bump in there for the little countryside station. And I remember when I was doing it, it got stuck, and then I just had to spin the remote wheel all the way backwards, and then it just shot off the wrong way. So going back to the remote here, so that's just about speed control, and that's about channel with the receiver control. Red square is indicating just to stop. Now this one here, this slider, is basically changing its direction. So at the moment I've got it on the forwards direction, but if I had it on like this and moved it, then it would go backwards on itself. So it's quite chaotic with power functions trains, depending on how you want to do this, but when the powered up system came in 2018, which I think might be me and Orfitz Herbert reviewing the first of our powered up train sets in another upload. I don't know when, because we haven't agreed on a schedule of how to upload these videos. We will show you the differences between power functions and powered up specifically. So right now we are going to be building the small loop of track this train came with, and we're going to drive the train around it. So I'll see you in a little while. So I've just set up the loop of track with the little station and the level crossing here, and let's see, is our remote correctly set? Yes, the red port for the motor is correctly on, as is channel 1 for the receiver, so let's give it some kinetic energy to get the train going. Be right on top of it. There we go. So all in all, it's quite a small loop for this train, but that's just the basics of starting with a Lego train set. You want something basic. But when you come to add extra track packs, which we have, we like to make more complicated layouts and all that. So I'm going to review some track packs in the future that we have. And it's a very quaint little set. Perfect for young hands between 6 to 12 years. For me, when I got this set, I was just in my 30s, so basically I don't collect sets when I'm a kid. I collect them because I'm an adult fan of Lego and everything. But this was not my very first Lego train set I envisaged, because when I was part of my Lego Model Railway Club in Germany that I was with friends with, we had 2 other train sets, and they chose not to use them anymore. They went with the powered up system after Fitzherbert and I left it, and they gave us those instead. So I'm just going to quickly stop the train so you get to see how we deal with the passengers and all that. So I'm just showing the camera like that, and then we take the roof off. So if I come in close, you will see that's what it looks like from inside. So I'm just gonna try putting the camera there, but it's going to be quite hard. So I'm just going to pop it on the floor, quite close to the crossing, but slightly tilted, though. That's one issue. I think that's okay with me, but basically I'm just going to put in the female passenger, and yes, depending which hand the figure is in, depends which way they should be sitting. So as you can see, I put that in there, chosen the female one specifically to match the colour scheme. And I'm just going to move the camera back out to where we started, and then off we go again. So, all in all, I really like the train set. Gives you 7 speeds for the train itself, unlike with powered up, you'll get more of a vast speed limit. So I'm just going to zoom in on the station here. So yeah, it's quite quick to make a lap of the track. For other trains it's more interesting, but yeah, I mean, I'm happy with this set itself, the way I value it in my Lego city these days. So I'm just going to stop the train again, and we're going to come back and extract that passenger. Although the other thing you could do with the trains is just push them round rather than power them up, which is more effective when you're testing a train layout, but the real thing is to just enjoy train power moving, bringing your city to life. And that's what it feels like for me and my friends when we're doing this. So, after we review the blue freight train, which is the conjugate pair of this train, because they came out at the same time, we will build a little miniature city with those 2 trains, once I've given them a good charge, because this one feels a bit dead, nearly. It's going slower than I normally expected it would, but come on. There we go. It is sometimes slow, I know, but that's what it's had to go with after nearly 11 years in my life. So yeah, this was the very first train that I have had since I moved into Brighton with Fitzherbert. So yeah, since then our train collection has been much bigger, thanks to our friends. So yes, I really think that if you're young, from like 10 years ago and such, let us know what you think out of 10 and how much you would rate this train. We give it an 8 here on this channel. But that's all for today's video. Hope you enjoyed this video, and you will see next week Fitzherbert reviewing the blue cargo train set 60052, the conjugate pair, this one. And until then, like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. Until then, bis bald und tschüss.